Good evening everyone, today we're going to be recapping the NGS headline because it just ended at the time of this recording. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I want to talk about is, of course, the main story. Chapter 6 Part 2 is finally going to be available on August 2nd, and as we can see from the b-roll right here, Manon gets a new look, which is pretty awesome. I actually really like that hairstyle with the ponytail, so I do hope that that does become a SG scratch item later down the line, because I do want to pick that up. But now for the grand reveal of the new game mode. It is called New Standing Quest Leciel Exploration, and it is literally like a divide quest. For all of my OG base game players, you guys know Divide Quest was one of the most fun things that we did because it was randomized, so every single run was totally different. This Standing Quest is exactly the same thing, and there are a bunch of power-ups that you can pick up, and you need to progress through various stages to get to the very last boss, where there's a new enemy type called Runius, and there are two different bosses, so we get to fight them. That's pretty cool. But more importantly, you can actually run this standing quest with up to 8 players, which is new. But more importantly, of course, we need to talk about the loot, because that's the main incentive on why we do new content. It's all about what can we actually get from running this content, other than, of course, having fun. But the loot over here is a new 9-star rarity weapon. So yes, as I predicted, we are getting new 9-star rarity weapons. So in order to obtain these new 9-star rarity weapons, we're going to need to run the Leciel exploration over and over and over in order to obtain this new item called Growthman. Once you collect 50 of them, you'll be able to exchange 50 of these Growthmans into whatever weapon type that you want. Now, these new 9-star rarity weapons are unique in the sense that it gives you a 100% critical hit rate. Yes, you heard me right. 100% critical hit rate. It is absolutely broken. But there is a downside to this, and the downside is it is minus 25% weapon potency. So you're taking a huge hit on your potency, but you get 100% guaranteed critical hit rate, and there are no conditions to these effects. You don't need to do a sidestep in order to get the crit rate or not get hit in order to get the crit rate. It's just always activated 100% crit rate. It's absolutely crazy strong and sounds absolutely busted. But that 25% potency hit is pretty big, because most weapons, when you upgrade their potential, you gain a lot of potency. For example, when we look at my Neo A weapon over here, I gain 38% potency from the weapon potential. And if we look at the Christia Katana, I gain 42% weapon potency. So you gain a lot of weapon potency from the weapon potential. However, those new 9-star rarity weapons, you get 100% crit rate, but it's negative 25% weapon potency. Now, that was only at level 1, so that might get a little bit better when we get to level 6, but we're gonna have to wait and see. But nevertheless, I'm gonna build that weapon. I'm 100% gonna build that weapon because that's something that I've always wanted. I've always wanted to have really high crit rate and just go to town and beat up everything and destroy everything. But at minus 25% potency, I might need to change my build a little bit in order to compensate for that lack of potency. Now, another thing I want to talk about the Leciel exploration is it is a randomized instant based thing. So it's very similar to like a limited time quest where you just queue up with your friends and you go in and you run it over and over and over. However, it's up to 8 players, which is pretty cool. And every time you go in, it's going to be different mobs, different biomes, different maps, different everything. So there are going to be different mechanics based on what tile set you roll. So for example, there are certain maps which require you to do a lot of parkouring. There's other maps that require you to solve a puzzle. There's other maps that require you to kill enemies extremely quickly in order to extend a timer. So there's a ton of really cool mechanics thrown into this so that every single run that you do is not going to feel exactly the same. So it's going to be very refreshing for a lot of players who just want to run something over and over and over, but still get a lot of really good loot, as well as a lot of replayability and not burn themselves out. So I'm very happy to finally see this type of game mode implemented into the game. This kicks in on August 2nd as well. So the moment this update kicks in, we're going to be able to play this, and I can't wait to try it because it just looks super awesome. Keep in mind that you are racing against a clock, by the way, for each tile set that you go through. So there is a time limit. So you do need to work together as a team in order to get through things efficiently and quickly and stuff like that. But even if you fail, let's say that you run out of time or everyone dies or whatever, you still get loot at the very end, which is pretty nice. There have been other game modes before, in the base game especially, where it's incredibly punishing. If you never finished it, if you failed it, you just get no loot at all. So I'm very happy to see that in NGS, they made it a little bit more player friendly. So if you do fail, if you do decide to play with random people and you know, everyone just sucks, for example, and you don't complete the run, you still get loot based on your participation in the dungeon, which is pretty awesome. Now, the next big thing we need to talk about is, of course, alliance spaces are finally being introduced. So this also kicks in on August 2nd. So we currently have our own personal creative spaces. However, starting on August 2nd, we now officially get alliance spaces where your alliance members can build out a hangout place, which is pretty awesome. Now, the nice thing about the alliance spaces is even if I don't have certain build parts as the alliance leader, it's okay as long as someone else has those parts and has the permission to build stuff in my alliance space. They can still build whatever they want. So for example, let's say that one of my alliance members bought one of those AC packages in order to build the swimming pool and the wood floors and all of that, but I personally didn't buy that. Well, it's gonna be fine because what I can do is I can give that person editing permissions. They can build with all of the building parts that they own in our alliance spaces. So the alliance spaces is incredibly flexible and really nice. Now, on top of that, we also have the new Retem theme. So if you want to do like a desert theme, you can now change it to a desert theme if you want that, which is pretty awesome. Now, on top of all of this, they did say in the headline that they are going to be adding a lot more build parts that you can obtain through Genesis points as well as Star Gems. So that is really nice to see. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is they've added a bunch of weapon camos to the Geometric Labyrinth, Trainia Advanced, and Battle Dia purples. And there are some really nice looking weapon camos over here, as you can see on this slide right here. And yeah, so basically you can farm for these weapons and they're kind of incentivizing you to run a lot of the more outdated content, even though Geometric Labyrinth does scale to your character level, but it's just not that popular right now. So they've added these weapon camos to incentivize players to replay this type of content. But now to talk about the enhancing preset skills. So yes, this is the Fixa system. They finally updated it and it's coming on August 2nd as well. So you can now enhance your current Fixa. Let's say you have a Fixa Fatale level 1. You can upgrade it to Fixa Fatale level 2, level 3, level 4, and eventually level 5, which is really awesome. And if you have a weapon without a Fixa, you can attach a Fixa onto it. And the best part is it's not like the current Fixa transfer system where you need the exact same weapon. As long as your weapons can be multi-weapon together, those weapons will all be viable to be used as material in order to gamble here. Now, do keep in mind it is a gamble. As you can see from this slide over here, there is a 10% chance of success. So you are gambling here. Now, I'm sure they're probably going to add some sort of booster in order to increase your chances. But nevertheless, it's still really nice to see this because now there is actually a way to enhance your Fixas in order to eventually get a Fixa level 5 instead of just praying to RNG, smashing your head against a wall and just hoping that it drops out of thin air. So I'm very happy to see this. It's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. Now, as for my newer players as well as my free-to-play players, we are getting two new SG badges. They're called SG Legacy Coordination Badge, and there are two variants. There's a pose variant and a hair variant. And what these badges do is it allows you to pick any hairstyle as well as any pose that were in previous SG scratches, thus the name SG Legacy Coordination Badge, which is super nice. Let's say that you weren't around when Nadare's hair was available and you want that hairstyle. Well, now you can use one of these badges and just select the hair that you want, and it's guaranteed that you get it. There's zero gambling involved. You don't need to spend your SG. It's very nice. Now, of course, comes the big question: where do we even obtain these? And the best part is you get them through events. So they're literally just going to be freebies in a lot of our like anniversary events or our seasonal events and stuff like that. So just make sure that you stay up to date to all of those and make sure that you actually do all of the event stuff in order to get all of these badges. That way you can get all the different hairstyles that you missed from previous scratches, as well as all of the different poses, because the best part is you don't need to spend your hard-earned SG in order to get all of these, which is very nice. Now, it doesn't end there. We are actually getting new features and improvements, and the biggest one that I want to talk about is the DPS meter, guys. The DPS meter is being implemented also on August 2nd. They just learned from their mistakes. Sega was just like, hey guys, we're just gonna front load this event like crazy and just give everything the players actually want. So it's actually, I'm very surprised. When they said they were adding a DPS meter in like the previous headline, I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna take them like a year to do this. But no, it's done. It's in the game. There you go. Very nice. There's a DPS meter right there on the top right corner. So that is actually really, really cool that they did it so quickly. It really caught me off guard. But other than that, they've also added a whole bunch of other quality of life things, such as being able to change the backdrop of your status screen, which is pretty cool. You know, it's a little customizability, the little quality of life stuff, as well as being able to access the quest counter through your tasks and quest menu. So you don't need to go to the world map and click on the little counter picture or run to the quest counter. You can just do it through the menus, which is pretty nice. And on top of that, we can also teleport directly to a cocoon or a tower from the world map, and it doesn't actually send you into the tower or into the cocoon. Then you have to abandon quests, go through like 2 loading screens. It just sends you right outside of the cocoon, which is super nice. And on top of all of this, if you are a new or returning player and you are running the yellow triggers in Alio, Retem, and Kavaris, well, now there are support NPCs which will help you a little bit. You know, they're kind of like cannon fodder. They run forward, they distract the mobs for you, and then you go forth and beat up all the mobs and save their butts. But nevertheless, it's nice to see that, oh, they're making it just a little bit more easier for newcomers or returning players to just level up extremely quickly through the Battle Dia yellows. Another huge thing they're adding is the ornament display settings for face and hairstyles. That means they're adding all the little numbers. So your X-axis, your Y-axis, your Z-axis, all of these settings now have numeric values at the side. So it's going to be so much easier to teach people how to like set a perfect face, get a symmetrical face, and all of that stuff. You can literally just take a screenshot and be like, these are the values, copy these values, do the exact same thing, and you're going to get X result, which is really, really nice. And I'm glad that they added in. Again, I'm very surprised that Sega managed to implement this so quickly. So yeah, good job, Sega. Pretty good. Next up, we have to talk about the new high difficulty quest, Sign of the Planet Breaker. So this is the new 4-man Darkfall Soulless fight. So Darkfall Soulless is basically the starless version of Dark Falls, and apparently this is going to be some ultra difficult stuff. Now, why should you run this? Well, there's new armors. So yes, we're getting, first of all, new weapons, and we're getting new armors. So this update is absolutely huge. So everyone's gonna need to upgrade and re-augment and do all of that stuff all over again if you guys want the best in slot. However, again, we do need to wait until we actually get the new armors to drop, as well as the new weapons to drop, to see what the stats actually are, especially with armors, because you know, with our Ajax armors or Eclair Suit armors, they're really, really good armors already. So we're gonna have to see what these new armors do. If they really give that much more potency, then it'll be justifiable to go all in and upgrade it. But in my case, since I'm still using the Ephetus armor, I'm highly incentivized to upgrade to whatever this new armor is, because I'm pretty confident that it's going to be much, much stronger than my Ephetus armor right now. Now, something they did confirm about this new high difficulty quest is you can run it as many times as you want. You do not need some fancy trigger or whatever. It's literally just in South Retem. You go there at the center of South Retem. It's probably close to like the purple trigger there. There's just going to be this new portal thingy, and you can just activate it and just go in with your 4 players and run it over and over and over. So that is really awesome. Now, the new Starless Dark Falls quest doesn't kick in until August 9th, so that's going to be a week after we get the new story and everything I talked about earlier. But on top of that new high difficulty quest, we are also getting a new event treasure scratch. Now, this is similar to like the current anniversary scratch where you need to farm for these tickets. However, in order to obtain these tickets, first of all, you're guaranteed to get a couple from your limited time daily task. So that's really nice. You know, it's probably like 2 tickets every single day or something along those lines. But you can also get additional drops through Urgent Quest. So I'm very happy that they're adding it into Urgent Quest, and I'm hoping that since it's in an Urgent Quest, which is time gated, they can increase the drop rate to, you know, much higher, hopefully, so that people can actually scratch on this treasure scratch. Now, the reason why this treasure scratch is so special is because you can get high level augments. On top of that, you can also get augment item protection capsules, which is very, very rare, especially if you're free to play. And remember those SG Legacy coordination badges that I just talked about earlier, where you can pick whatever hairstyle you wanted or pick whatever pose you wanted? Those badges will also be obtainable through this treasure scratch. So this is what I wanted. I wanted to see more of this in the game, where it's like encouraging players to play the game, because you get a bunch of really, really cool stuff by playing. So this is a really good step in the right direction again. So bravo, Sega, good job. I'm very happy that you added this. Now, on top of all this, we are getting a new mission pass season 23. This kicks in on August 9th as well. So again, we're gonna get a whole bunch of goodies from that. But the big thing that is coming on August 9th that I'm sure a lot of people are excited about is, of course, Uncle from Another World collaboration. Now, on top of the collaboration with the AC Scratch, as well as all those cosmetic items, there is going to be a bunch of campaigns going on as well as login bonuses, so that you can get a lot of freebies even if you don't want to spend any money or scratch or whatever. You'll be able to get a bunch of build parts through the login campaign, and there's also a beginner's boost campaign where you gain 100% more EXP in yellow triggers, and you also get your yellow triggers back once a day. So basically, you can run a yellow trigger and get your 5 yellow triggers back once every single day. So it's like one free run basically, which is really nice. Now, the main attraction for me personally from this scratch is going to be the weapon camos. The weapon camos look fantastic. I really, really want all of these weapon camos. Now, as for the outfits themselves, you know, I might pick up the Uncle outfit if it's really cheap just for meme purposes, because the Uncle's just such a funny character. But other than that, I'm not super interested about the actual outfits. It's all about the weapon camos as well as the other collaboration items for me. But now to move on to August 16, where we are getting 2 new AC scratches. Now we're getting like 50,000 gajillion AC scratches, but this one I want to point out because one of these scratches is the AC support item select August 2023. And in this scratch, they are re-releasing the XD augments again. So yeah, basically on August 16, everyone's going to be able to obtain their Exdi capsules again. So the market is going to go absolutely haywire because, well, we've got a lot of new gear, again, new armors, new weapons, and XD capsules, and yeah, so the market's going to be absolutely in shambles. So just mentally prepare yourselves for that. But that's the main reason why I want to point this out. Other than this scratch specifically, all of the other scratches are just really, really good fashion items. The one I really want to point out is the stylish summer AC scratch. I think this scratch is going to be really, really popular because, you know, it's just streetwear. It's just casual streetwear, and that is extremely, extremely popular on the global servers especially. And there aren't many outfits that just wear, like, you know, casual wear and jeans and stuff like that. So I think this one's going to be very popular. But I got ahead of myself because on August 23rd, we are getting another limited time quest, Blazing Battle. This is really, really cool. I love the concept of this. This is a 4-player limited time quest on Kenai Isle on Aleo. So that is the little island where your pod crash landed at the very beginning of the game. So it's a relatively small map. But what you want to do is you want to defeat a lot of enemies in order to extend the timer so that you get more time to kill more enemies. So you got to take advantage of all the different mechanics that they offer you to quickly zoom around everywhere and kill everything super duper quick. So I really like this concept because, well, you're racing against the clock, you kill enemies, you gain more time in order to kill more enemies. So it just sounds like a really fun game mode, and it's kind of similar to like PSE bursting, you know, you kill a boss or you kill something, immediately more mobs just spawn and you're just dashing around and killing stuff over and over and over. So I am going to be trying this. This definitely interests me as well. So I'm looking forward to this. Now, for the operation report, there was one question saying, do you have any plans to change the augment capsule lineup in the shop? And they did confirm that in October, we will be able to exchange for Gigastat 4s as well as Dreadkeeper 4s in the exchange shop. So now we know in October, we'll be able to craft Gigastat 4s. And last but not least, Sega does not disappoint with the September collaboration is Oshi No Ko. Now this is a very, very popular anime. A lot of people really liked it because it talks about like the idol lifestyle, YouTubers, VTubers. It talks about a lot of different entertainment industry stuff. So if you do work in those industries, it's actually pretty interesting to read this manga or to just watch the anime itself. So if you do want any of the avatar items of Ai, Ruby, as well as Aqua, you're going to be able to get them. So that's going to be really, really cool. I want their music CDs because the music of Oshi No Ko is fantastic. It's so good.
Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!